Omukulu Tamale Mirundi amakya marungi ssebo
nje nabagasi bana bizibu
ekituufu ndio ekyo kyoge tobe na bizibu
hapana
wesimye
you think what you call problems are challenges katonda yatutonda tukonkalinga ensi kakati ogamba otya nti ate katonda amagezi ge yakuwa togakozeseza tukonka it means tibwe obwongo bwe butakola
gwe munafu
ebintu bingi zembasekerera toyinza kugamba nti mukuza freedom day nebuga nti ate gavumenti ebayisa bubi ate ripooti nefuluma ng'empapula za gavumenti ate zebasinga okusoma kati
gavumenti tuyisa bubi nani empapula gavumenti zebasinga okusoma
ripooti bwegamba noga nti omusajja akuba ennyo omukazi ate bamuwadde ekirabo ky'empisa wano ekimu ku byo kifu yes
bamusajja wabanga akuba nnyo mukyala we alina kubeera erimba talina mpisa.
How can government newspapers be trusted by the population in a country, in a society where government harasses the media? Kati eyawandiise ripooti ayagala kupromotinga mpapula obwongo bwe tebumubuulira akiri nti ate otta kino tosobola kufuna byombi naalongo tabeera vagini yes tebaita kati eddagala likolebwa na vagin timuyite mukama Mirundi kakati byo awe wewali problemu yammwe in my opinion nawandika nze mpandiise kuba nalowooza nja kufa mangu nempandika ebitabo bingi I wrote about the issue of media yabakagula nnyo mu institutions ezisomesa abamawulire kakati ekibakola obubi mu Uganda kyekyo nti tukujajingira ku ki a former president of Uganda Journalists Association Kagolo died. How have you treated Kagolo's story? This is not a government. Okay, you can involve the while deal is connected to government. Have you seen motoka ya Kagolo eyatomedde gate?
Nedda.
Wagirabyeyo? Gate yeyatomedde wagirabyeyo?
No.
Omulambo gwa Kagolo gwote gwatwaliddwako mu postmortem nga gutegebwa ku pick up.
Gwatwaliddwa.
Anti ekifaananyi
kiri luddawo. We gwagudde.
So if I can judge you, if it was somebody else, by mafia mwebayina interest to embarrass government, you would see where is Kagolo's vehicle that knocked a gate? Where is Kagolo's corpse where it lay? Nti bamukuba amasasi yagwa wano abantu bakuŋŋaana nga balaba omulambo gwa Kagolo.
Byante byalabiseeko.
Gate gye yatomera eriwa.
Terabikako.
Kakati it means is not media freedom. Government gave you the freedom which has been captured by the mafia gang. I always say the problem of media in Uganda is not a government, the mafia. This is not a media in Uganda. If I can describe a media, Uganda's print media is a channel, is under the total armpit of the mafias. I can sigirwanirira
mukulu Tamale gwenga ego yaliko munnamawulire era amaze ebbanga omulimu guno eno oba
oyanukudde kyegambye
this day is it worth a celebration celebrating
kyenkubuulira yes kubanga
why
do we have mulabye buli tukola celebrating freedom day they list a countries that infringe on media freedom. Is Uganda listed? Do we have a single journalist languishing in prison who has been assassinated for doing good journalistic work? Anti-violation of media. Do you know how many journalists die in a year? Get the statistics. How many journalists die in a year?
Worldwide over Uganda.
Worldwide.
I may not have
Uganda
the
munamawulire
statistics.
ekyeyafa during his journalist
Tamale. Tumale kufa Kagolo we yafa.
Tell me,
Tumale kufa
nti Kagolo bwe yafudde you are on. It was, according to your stories, one, that Kagolo knocked a gate.
Yeah.
Where is the knocked gate? Kagolo's vehicle knocked a gate. Where is the damaged Kagolo's vehicle? Eriwa. Ebifaananyi tebigikwata.
Terabikako.
Omulambo gwa Kagolo gwaguddewa. Kuba amasasi bwe gamala okuvuga normally people come. Kabanga lyatutte omulambo gwa Kagolo mu mochari tebagukebedde eriwa. Is your own a former president of Uganda Journalists Association, the oldest. Uganda Journalists Association was started in 1964 by Kintu Musoke. They went to Ghana, Panegundi journalistic organizations, they found out tibanabwe bonna bazze n'ebibiina byabwe Kintu Musoke, Bagenda Mpima and others who went there, went outside and formed the Uja 64.
Awo nyini.
Kakati kyenkubuuza emmotoka ya Kagolo eyatomedde eriwa.
Tamale sinza jikula.
Gate yatomereddwa
simanyi weeri.
eriwa.
Sinza jikula simanyi weeri. Nedde kijjaawo. Ebe ne wono obimbuuza Mzee Tamale. Tebijja ne banamuli bakuluusanyizibwa.
Kakati kankubuulire. Kagolo was never killed at his place. This means Kagolo was kidnapped on the way.
Mzee Tamale.
Anti biriwa. Noyogera mu bantu noga nti emmotoka eyabadde emugoba okuva Emitiyana nti ye what do you do, what should the sensible man do?
Paka the police side, police station eriyo
asanda bemmotoka engoberera nga nziyeyo omudumu
ati gwogulina
gwogulina benyondo nga nji
bwembeera nze nga ndayo mmotoka engoba
kati gwatayina stop at the nearest
police station. Yeah. Oba petrol station.
From Mityana emmotoka edduka gye bagoba tekuba ng'ombe. Kakati media yammwe mugitege nfu. You have a dead media. This is not a media, it's a mission.
But created by
mass
what?
communication, we call it a media.
You
tell me, did the government tell you not to publish the knocked vehicle? We don't even know in which vehicle Kagolo was traveling.
And the government
and I'm asking you, has the government prevented you from publishing this? Abo bakawagga waffe tebalivuddeyo nga balamu.
But what access okuba tutuuka ku
nsonga ezo ligamba tebogeranga ekigambo siita gusi mu lumbe lwange boogeranga Museveni. Yes, gavumenti ekiikirirwa bagikubirayo
ewammwe.
nze mpeza abaana nkaaga emmotoka za gavumenti zonna bajja kuzookerayo. Banze I don't believe in pretense. Kawagga yakimyeyo ki
mukuzika kw'omugenzi
mitwalo 8 family yaffe ngaetwala emitwalo 8
andike kajogojoga ako omuntu afudde olisi emitwalo 8
nedda issue yammwe you are highlighting nothing, which means Museveni when he came era akatabo kange ako singa bakaleese nkulaga ti Museveni established a free media kubanga one of the benchmarks of judging democracy is a free media. Media yennyini ye eringa omulwadde guba wadde eddagala n'atalimira. So if he dies, which he dies, does not blame the doctor. Government has created, I feel proud that I worked with the government that believed that it protects media freedom.
Sure.
Yes.
Government protected media freedom.
What you are saying because you are not trained. Abazungu batukola ekintu kibi. Nti because the Europeans to come to Uganda, they were responding to a letter, Mutesa's letter, to the Daily Telegraph.
What do you get a katabo uncle what government kalimu
the history of media in Uganda.
The issue of media in Uganda.
Kakati abazungu bwe bajja wano bategeera bajja bamanyi the power of the media.
Okay.
Unlike other professions, we did not have a training institute for journalists. Many people who joined the journalism joined it out of passion or out of anger. The veteran politicians, veteran journalists were never trained. In fact, we had a belief that a journalist is born, is not trained. We didn't have a training institute
of journalists.
Journalists. There was a lawyers, medical doctors, but journalists had no, because it was believed journalists have training. Abazungu bali batamaze okutegeera a pen is mightier than the sword.
Okay.
Kakati ffe tetwafuna training. Era waliwo omu ku basajja abakulu wano yaswala yagamba nti alina diploma mu journalism nga yagijja Makerere University. Teriyo. It was after Museveni's coming that Makerere University introduced a degree course, mass communication. Mass communication and journalism are different. You cannot teach journalism when you don't have a newspaper or a radio station or TV. An institution must have those three elements. Because journalism is practical. Kakati tuina trained journalists. The 1995 statute recognized journalism as a profession at par with the law. Era bwogende Makerere marks za law zifananiza mass communication. Nimba gwamba era etteeka terikola. Nabagamba the problem of journalists is because they are not trained to they are poor. If you have a conference of lawyers and you have a conference of doctors and you have a conference of journalists, these are open indicators. Two, we don't have strong media institutions. Tetuzirina. 1964, Daily Nation started in Kenya. In fact, we also mango popular Ramawuli, Mabega Waru, Kuberako ABC, the Audit Bureau of Circulation. We know Kubanga circulating a million Yamauli a day. You are largest circulating a newspaper, I think, booked for entertainment, Katusekem, was a real name in a country of 40 million people, because in the printing press, in a newspaper business, the more copies you print, the less costly it becomes.
It comes, yeah.
Singa New Vision, ekuba emitwala abiri, egula siringi bisatu kuba bitano. Your newspapers, amawulire bagakubamu obuuma. Why? Kakati mmwe, blaming our government. Not government. Government put the food on the table, dining table. Na ye mmwe ne balimu okulya. Temanyi kuliisa bijeeko.
Mzee Tamale, government yone tugamba tulina freedom of speech. Naye weeri. Eri luddawa. Olumala okwogera. It is there ng'oyogera, but after speaking it eri.
I have never been arrested over a story.
You.
Kakande of New Vision has never arrested because of a story. This is my generation.
But many have been arrested.
Because you were mercenaries. This is the mercenary media. It's a mercenary media. Oba yowa oronu mujikwese story.
Are we allowed access to it?
Let me tell you. Who has prevented the Bokede or UBC okutula gemoto ko mwafiride kagolowoze staff?
Bokede and UBC biani.
Tiwali.
Biani
tell us.
Those are not government entities.
Finally,
I'm saying Tamale. Bokede and UBC are government entities.
Not to waste time. Kubanga nze tonsobola.
That cigarettes,
I started as a newspaper vendor. I ended up owning my own newspapers, and I've ended up as a spokesperson of the president.
Yeah.
And he interpreted 14 years. So I'm not a joke in this field.
I know.
I'm only in Gamani.
I know.
And I've written many books. I'm the most listened to person.
Yeah.
That's why they panic in the public nebalema. Kubanga nze manyi. Government takes advantage of your weaknesses. Many people fear to take me to court. Well, bagamba Kalisa, between a 10 billion case against him. Kalisa na panicking and move kati siriddayo. Kakati nkugamba 10 billion case yali rudda wetambulira ku nfudu. Is it moving on tortoise? Tiriyo. Kakati ekyokusatu nemba gamba nti what you are complaining about amawulire gali ga mirundi ebiri. if you fear, because I challenged, waliwo omusajja katabo kakano kenawandiika the history of media in Uganda. Nabagamba nti what you call harassment are just occupational hazards. You tell me, when I was still in State House, I challenged a conference. It was sponsored by Australia to tell me where they buy tear gas that covers when it faces a journalist.
Mzee Tamale, hazards ziku mulimu.
Yes.
Embigo na jonga mwe batoon.
Yes.
So those are hazards.
You tell me a journalist who has been picked from his office for a story, etali malicious. If you want organize, you erase a journalist. If you erase journalist, you go to parliament where there is a press gallery, you go to court where there is a press gallery, but if you look a fracas to cover riot, how can you cover riot with these huge cameras?
Mzee Tamale katuva ku story hiyo. Ozogira lunye nti Mzee Museveni ekisinzo kumusumbuwa kwe kuba nti nno talina mawule baga muwambako.
Nakugamba.
Osogoliza ensonga enti mawule baga muwambako. Nibo nebikolebwa ayagala kuba nti yeddiza mawulire.
Nedda. Fe butwaberera mu mawulire. Tokugamba. Produce me before court. Yes. Batutwala mu court. Batukwata. Do journalists diplomats in their own country?
No.
Journalists enjoy freedom because they sign a covenant with the population. They give a platform to those the downtrodden. CAM. Temina covenant na bantu. Media were the forces state. That was advanced by a French scholar. If it is a forces state, let us see which state of the country does not have regulations. You are not responsible. You are not trained. Your problem is training. Your problem is to think that you are diplomats in your own country. Your problem is the poverty. And the problem, there is a new development of using journalism as a launching pad into politics. This is what I said in my book. Some journalists are actually politicians. They use the media as launching pads for political aspirations. At its inception, the Monitor had enormous public goodwill as a voice of the voiceless. Before starting it, the resignation of its directors from Okire topic had been prompted by an issue that concerned the ordinary person. As senior editors, they boldly stepped into rough showed about the king, the Kabaka, about Monitor bajane goodwill. Bawandika story mu Okire topic nti Kabaka agoba abantu mutaka. Chintu musoke ba directors kintu musoke kirunda kivijje ne bidandi. They were looking for political offices. They could not antagonize Mengo. Ne baba goba. Balonchi ngolupapula lwa Monitor nga lwina goodwill. Ne baluzanyiramu.
Okay.
Yes, baluzanyiramu. Ne mbagamba ekyokubiri ekyononya amawulire gammwe. Ndi tuyina checkbook journalism. Kakati mbagamba ono ekyokubiri. Media and opposition politics. A pertinent question today is, in absence of political pluralism, should the media take the position of the opposition? In America, scholars say yes. However, they say that although the media must assume overall responsibility, the media should operate alongside the judiciary. I beg to differ. Politics is crude. It's a dirty game. While journalism is purely profession. You cannot say that if a country is short of men who are ready to marry off spinsters, then we should force Catholic priests to marry. Opposition is weak. Opposition. In absence of a strong opposition, the media alternate, which is wrong.
nze Tamale okuva kwogera ku mbeera embi eri mu ggwanga era nga kituufu yeeriwo otuba tukoze nga opposition.
A journalist must not be supporting, must be neutral.
Yeah.
Yes.
Era
I'm a neutral man.
Kati wemaavu nenga mukajogere ku nguudo embi eziri mu ggwanga olwo mba nkoze opposition.
I had people who
bw'ova noyogera ku bamafia abali abasuula gavumenti oba ofuuse opposition.
Do you know that there was a meeting in Uganda where they sat and anointed the success of Museveni 2 days ago? But they said, if we don't kill that man, let us use him as a lecturer.
Who, you?
Turn the enemy into a lecturer. Somebody was explaining to them. Whatever he says, listen to it. On Saturday, when I was on my PAL FM program, they were listening and arguing. They were arguing. You listen what that man is saying. Kakati, bagende wa president. But candidates from Uganda went and met the president from Mpigi, Wakisa and where. And they told the president, your son has crossed the red line. He's supporting Bobby Wine. Museveni told them, I know Mirundi cannot support Bobby Wine. Go to the next point. Why do I have this credibility? Why is it that even Bobby Wine, when he got a party, he rang me?
Kubango vano yogera amazima. Nga bigayina okubanga gavira. Nina ffe kitukola.
No, if you, but for you take sides.
Which sides?
A media. Mu America, chirikiria. Nti a newspaper can come and say, we support Gundi. Why? Boba yo media yabwe bwetyo bweri era America bayina kye bayita libertarian theory. Libertarian theory was developed by American scholars. Allow the media to say whatever it does because the public can decide. Oba balimba oba tebalimba. Mu Uganda tikikolamu. To allow libertarian theory, it means that a media at an advanced level, what does it do? You create a marketplace of ideas where people can come and buy. But to create that marketplace of ideas, you must have knowledgeable people.
Okay.
Temuchirina. Kakati
putting that aside, you have to be
kankusembyeyo na kino. Checkbook journalism. This is where journalists are induced to doctor stories, and this practice is prevalent in Uganda. In fact, the first item journalists attend to at public functions is to list down the names of those in attendance and submit to organizers for inducements. Interestingly, the organizers make it part of the budget. On many occasions, squabbles arising from these inducements erupt between organizers and the journalists. It was noted earlier that before the advent of NRM, journalism was despised. Practicing the profession was referred to as Olugambo, occupation for rumormongers. The stereotype would, however, change over the years with the media institutions falling into hands of younger and highly educated people. These own Abo Bamwenda, they are not journalists, these are business people. The Mwendas. These own expensive property, like in other Uganda, they are not paupers like their predecessors. They are part of the intelligentsia and the middle class. As a result, they have become arrogant, considering their status. They apply blackmail and intimidation tactics. A corrupt system gives media power and influence in matters of governance because public officials keep secretion in their cupboards. Unlike many African countries, Uganda has gone through a unique and turbulent history. What is in news in other countries is not necessarily the news in Uganda. For example, Uganda experienced the tyranny of Amin era and barbarism of the highest order, which so many lives of Ugandans lost anyhow. People would be walking on the streets in the morning and bump into relatives' body along a pavement without prior knowledge of how the victim ended up there. Obote's soldiers raped women in front of their husbands and the children during the 80s. It is a country where Joseph Kony chopped people's lips and strapped padlocks onto this figured body bars. It is a place where rebels, Kukuti people, in reports, is where this and happened is in total this news anywhere. Kakati mwechimuliko. Banna Uganda balaba ebintu. Abaganda bakugamba. If you want to lose a sex libido, produce many daughters. Why? Because these daughters expose their nakedness anyhow. And once a man is used to a woman's nakedness, he loses libido. Kakati namu bana Uganda balabaka bateredwa mu Uganda okuba mu story n'ogamba nti nsi kijolaba mu story the Minister of Internal Affairs comes to Parliament and reads a list of people detained who have never been produced to court when the Constitution provides for 24 hours and they don't change the law. Then another leader of the opposition in the same Parliament says these people are missing.
It is Uganda.
And it does not make a headline. Kakati mumwe, because Ugandans have seen whatever is sinnable, you have resorted to corruption, you have resorted to bedroom affairs, you have resorted to trivialism.
Wow, and so you got the body, you know, give up on Enga Fanam to condemn Mawlire, government, everything at you. Some never told never security, bring to some Bera Yokubat, Namolire, but now what them say much to Sako enough to work on Tulaga, Amazamagatambra, Guanga, you have a cigarette question when number one to against giving no time. You are master Tamale, got to the consumer to our knuckle. I challenge I challenge a Ugandan newspaper to tell us whether government directed them not to publish the photos of the Kagolo's knocked vehicle and where it is, the gate that Kagolo's vehicle knocked, and where Kagolo's body was found. And a photo how Kagolo's corpse was delivered for post-mortem. And government is controlling media. I take government. Mumaze banga mulwana. Government badde ochogiranga wano. Ne controlling. Jino mulamba kawaga nagenda ewafe bali kubiddeyo kawaga. Tewali ogeredde. Era tuvandira kawaga ya government ali ogerera ku lumbeeru wange tali bajja bakubirayo ne motoka bazoki. Onako ngalumu mail na kulwa abakozi labor day. Ate government ebaganya ate nga kawaga mwamwogeddeko. Ne batwala n'emitwalo 8. Mitwalo 8 mugitwala mu bantu. Emitwalo 8 kujoga bantu wafoleta ya mabugo bani babatirayo muri nyanga ye wafenga mfudde boboyogera sometimes wewuliriza yes oyogere no gamba lupapula kyo lwakoze ekyo anti nkugambye lwani anti kye nkugamba si lwa government anti kigamba government yabaganye naturally out of curiosity any journalist who did elementary journalism twali agadde okulaba emotoka ya Kagolo yatomedde gate ne twagala n'okulaba gate eyatomeddwa era gate ya muri yaki eyeggudde ne bamukuba amasasi. So you see evenga tuyitadde ku bali onaku lumunga mmero onaku lwa badde mukutamwe oli musajja mukozi abakozi bangi tuna mu ggwanga onaku olina SST mugusia tu Uganda muna Uganda ali ordinary lumuyambaji obote lu celebrating nebyo byonna tembitegeera. One, how did it come about? The Labor Day? Yes. Let me tell you. Once you see a country running on a private sector, it remains politics. Even the Labor Day is politics? Yes. The politics? I did the trade union. I was offered a scholarship by an organization called the IFJ, and I was given $500,000, I think 50 or 20 years ago, to start a trade union in Uganda. I failed. Nze natandika UJU, Uganda Journalists Union, ingatekola, because I know the factors. Okay. Nti tuyina kye tuyita collective bargaining. In Uganda you cannot. There are people who are willing okukola mu institutions z'amawulire nga tebafuna musaala naye nga bali akayinja kali kenkugambye kyolutuukayo nga muwanika amanya gammwe nga babawo emitwalo ebiri temujja kugagawala mulyanga bukolwa. Omwana bw'aleeta sitole ye eya corruption nga editor akuba esimu nga bamuwa ssente. How many journalists have been sacked? kakati nkugamba ne Labor Day. Let me tell you, I laugh at you. How can you have representatives of a trade union in the government?
Abachiika trade unions nenga bali mu government.
Bali mu government. In Uganda, all of the 5 or more representative of trade unions, not who are part of government. So how can it? The reason is simple. That how can we attract investors? We can attract investors for cheap labor. We can attract investors, factories that have been chased from Europe, who are polluting the environment. Ati bajjawa. Ndio musajja ajjawana kuba mulowooza nti Bible yagamba nti buli investor akola mu Uganda. Museveni n'ateekawo 20 investment parks. Ettaka ne balituula kubatunda tunde. This is why what exposes government, look at 2 scenarios. There is an investment park at Namang. Why is it that the Chinese have established factories in Kibule's constituency? The land in Kibule's constituency is cheaper than this land which is supposed to be given free. Baba wemula, baba mulisa, aba China baba mulisa. Why should the Chinese gende wa Kibule? Olaba amakampuni g'aba China gali mu constituency ya Kibule. And why should the Chinese investor leave free land? Because an investment park, it is a bazibba. Museveni had negotiated with the World Bank, waberewo flyover, nga ezive jinja ziyita waggulu zino ziyita wansi oluguudo ne balubba bannasasira abali mu ministry. Kakati why should we have Chinese abayinvestinze wa Kibule nga bagula mayiro land naye ne batajja ku ttaka lya bwereere, which means this land Museveni bamulimba tebalina ttaka nambole kubanga ettaka bakugamba you hold it for a number of years, if you don't develop it you return it because it's free land bonanza. Tiriyo kakati nkugamba nti how do you attract investors? By investors bemuyina mu Uganda, these are crooks who have failed, who cannot be allowed elsewhere. These are people who are taking advantage of your weak laws. Kakati trade union had to be measured. Do you have a strong trade union in China?
No.
Do you have a strong trade union in Russia? Because once the trade union, the workforce is organized, it means they will demand. Naye omuntu ekyuma gwe kirumyeko omukono wakomanisi kundi compensation bano abakoze abakiikirira abakoze nga bakiikirira mu government. Can you choose workers representative in government in a ruling party? Then you are doing something else. Let me tell you, ekibiina ekikulira abakozi Kenya which is vibrant kiri mu Kanu, is it part of government?
No.
Yes. Kati ebyamwe biri hapo
kiriwe ekityo
temubyumbuuzanga
kiriwe ekityo
yanti kiriwe ekityo because the intention is the runners know that if you have a vibrant trade union that will demand bakwata abaana 10,000 ne babatwali wakana na sani agowa, they were never unionized. Abaana
10,000.
Yes, what you have to sell to investors is what you call Museveni's land bonanza. Kwa yakitegeera ti in many countries you create an investment park with infrastructure, with everything, and some countries they have even buildings where the investors come and to get a competitive advantage. If I'm going to produce for this African market, then how come that mboza ba Mirundi bange, where should I, if I have 2 million to invest the Uganda babbi bali enguzi buli wamu wonna Museveni byalagira tebabikola kakati batakawo eyo tu nti we need a gundi mujita mutya anavere chichi mujita mutya omusala
income wage, minimum wage.
Does it mean that every company makes money? Before you demand money, I'm a trade unionist. Solidarity forever, solidarity forever. Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong. I'm a trade unionist myself.
But this meant to kuyimba.
Hey, I'm a trade unionist. I was trained, highly trained man. Nze neyambisa amawulire n'obwongo bwange.
Tudde ku nsonga ya minimum wage era y'ensonga
do you assume that every company makes a profit?
Then you will make a profit.
It is you. Kuba you assume it can work in the government, but it cannot work in the private sector. Why do you assume?
Is that why President Kagame
minimum wage? Minimum wage, does it mean that that would be a corporation? These are companies for individuals. Uganda has a stock exchange. Is it a vibrant stock exchange?
No.
Why? Because most of Uganda companies are family companies. Tibagenda ku stock kugulayo shares. They don't sell shares. These are family companies, BMK. Family companies, Mulwana, family companies. Most of our companies. That's why many companies don't have to leave regimes. Depending on goodwill of your government. Except the people like Wavamuno who have out to leave the regimes.
Talking about private companies, President Museveni agenda kujja mu buyinza wano mu ggwanga Uganda. Twalina UDC, Uganda Development Corporation. Ngina companies era ngeri managed by government. Ngina companies zaali nyingi.
Oyinza okuddiya omutamiivu n'omwana.
Mzee Tabeto genda mpona. Ngina companies zaali nyingi. Nalabi waffe omwana companies zazi Nyaiti, companies zazi UGL, companies zazi Mulubox, zi Muluko, zi Dairy Corporation. Companies zaali wonga nyingi. Linti Corporation is marketing, coffee marketing board. Naye ku mulembe guno gwennyini ogwa mukwano gwo. Corporation never dissolved.
No.
Buchimune chitundibwa under
privatization.
System can see
you see the element of privatization. Kubanga mulina okumanya nti independent leaders Bobote basanga ekizibu. We are fought for independence. Abantu balwanira namba 8 namba 9 kusunsula pamba. Kakati Bobote batula ne babala. What do we do in such a situation? The Indians control capital. We don't have capital, and our people cannot get loans. What the Bobotes did not tamper with agriculture. Boba Salamu Baganti, agriculture does not need training. Agriculture can employ illiterates. What do? They did two things. One, never tampered with agriculture, but they created parastatals, lint marketing board, coffee marketing board, so that when you buy coffee with a higher price, then you boost the production. The second move they made, Badira Nebagamba, we wanted to produce cheap labor. Political economy. Kenya is a bit okay. Why? After the First World War, the settlers in Kenya, the Europeans, found out in Europe, essentials. So they started creating processing industries in Kenya, which they did not do here. Kakati, Bobote Nebagamba, we want to produce cheap goods for our people. Uhuru, Naboba Ulieko independence. The Obates decided that all companies belonging to foreigners, government must invest in them and own 51%. Never take a cent. The Indians laughed at them because the board of directors, the government posted to the Indians were not businessmen. The Indians were operating on business acumenship, but a guarantee every year. By the time Museveni came here, buli mwaka government yajanga sente mu national coffers for crop finance. Bagule ebintu. Nga sente zivaawa. Museveni n'aleeta ruling n'agamba, in Africa, everybody who dies is buried. All of the companies that don't make a profit must be sold. But sold to who? Era bamuvunaana. In 1980s, we had the powerful people from Ankole. They were Kasisis, they were Rangalangas. But the Banyankole were powering milk. Never muzigo chagulaba. Kubanga Denmark yali what the amata. Tiba mikisinga. Data corporation mikisinga. Amata agokunga akafude rudawa. Denmark. One decision, a president, nti direct operation bamugaa egitunde ennusu emu. The problem was not money. Privatization was mishandled. Twalina foods and beverages. Omusajja nga bamuyita Mbabazi, atali ono Mbabazi, yagigula miliyoni 8. Naye ng'eyina egundi Miru, ekola gundi engano ekola obungato gundi tip top, ng'eyina politika siwukira gye yagula, ng'eyina amaduuka gonna miliyoni bagibba. Look, I read his book. He's crying crocodile tears, which Kaire was in charge of privatization. He messed up privatization. Some of these people cannot talk when I'm around. Negatively bitter, you were given an assignment which you failed.
Mr. Tamale, if Museveni had...
Nkugamba. Even if at one time, when Dr. Uganda was Minister of Transport, later and beyond, yatuwa emipira Rwenda, payers Rwenda emipira emeka. Waliwo Amini yateka we UTC. When I hear people abusing Amini, I laugh. Amini created UTC. Amini created Uganda Airlines from ashes.
Amini empowered UDC.
Kakati, what has happened? Bus emipira bajocha. UTC bajocha. Gwalaba ku UTC. UTC was like a railway station. Emotoka zigenda motobus egenda kusimbula. Bandit. Bajocha.
Okay.
Lugunda was the Minister of Transport. Semogere's younger brother was the Deputy Minister, and the man called the Sonko was the manager. UTC never. About to the Baja Naboni Baba. Nibaba.
Nze nakula ewaffe eruzirawo.
Twalina
abakulu baffe bonna babeera mu Uganda, babeera mu taxi.
Bagita.
Ne bona kati bali bakuba byeyo tebakyalina mirimu gyaggwawo.
I don't have the telephone number of this woman, this Somali woman. I don't know whether Ugandan extraction or not. Called Nakumati. If I had her number, I would ring her and congratulate her. She has liberated the Basoga.
Okay.
These people, the Madivanis, I was talking to one of the sugar manufacturers, producers, and I told him, you are in danger. This woman is going to finish you. Bagenda ebusoga ne bagaba licenses ebikajjo. Monopoly, because they don't operate in business acumenship.
Yeah.
Kakati bagaba gundi omusoga n'alima ebikajjo bye. I have a man anoonyewo okutunda ebikajjo bye wamubuze.
Ng'okuzala ebadde.
Anti beegabira license. Kakati tosobola kutunda wa metta. Baali badeseneteeka mu not 50 kilometers. Kakati be baawa license bo tebategeera the long term impact, adverse impact. License lole y'ebikajjo eyali baddemu obukadde obusatu bamuwa emitwalo
5
nga balowooza ajja kuddamu alime.
Alima
kakati ono omukazi yatadde ekyuma amulu. Mukazi oyo kamukubireko mu ngalo. Si sarcastically, I'm extremely happy. Nakumati, that Somali woman. What the woman has done, ye yasookedde kubalina license. Bamadivani be babadde bakozesa okubba abalimi. Bametta be babadde bakozesa okubba ki?
Abalimi.
Some people, nina abantu abalina ebikajja babiteese ne bagate tujja kutunda ku slow prices. We are not contributing to Uganda. Kakati y'omukazi kye yakoze yaguze ba license. Ebikajjo temulaba emmotoka ezikwata Northern Uganda. Yakuddiza ne transport yo.
Gw'otaddemu.
Katulabe metta, katulabe madivani, katulabe obujozi bwabwe abayindi abo.
President Museveni badde ayogera ku lunaku lwa Labour Day. Yagenda asobola nti akulietinga, gavumenti esobola nti akulietinga emirimu milioni 7. Naye nga through agriculture. Muze tambe tugende mpola. Ffe tukulidde nze muzeeyi wange yakola nnyumiza nti basomeranga ku mwanyi. Nga waliwo ngalozi cooperatives. President Rwajja zonna yazisaanyawo zaavaawo. Alikuwa kyagenda giteekamu atya nga budget esinga egenda mu security. Alikuwa kyeneebera nga eweewo ssente butono.
Abaganda bakugamba nti omwana tayinza kulema mu buto n'ogamba ndi muzaala mu bukadde. Museveni has been let down. Gondi anuzigireko wano. Museveni has been let down by his people. Nti Ugandans are easy to govern.
Jigwa chato ikumide kwa na Quest TV butere mu Sharp Talk nange tatiki nkata muno nokumuna Tamale Mirundi. Era nga sigenda kubanga mbalu isangena kuwanzira
jali. Kakati nkugambye nti when Museveni came, yayagala to reduce cost ya government.
Yeah.
Na privatizing and take a full minister of privatization. Nga yiruchikaire. Era
ono gwemanye waffe.
Ono mugasi gumita ane mugisha ekimuvumya government mwete mukimanyi. Ane mugisha ali personal assistant wa Luchikaire ne bamusensalinga. Nali obuuka n'agenda mu for this. I know all of these people. Museveni n'ateekawo a full minister of custodian board. Kuba custodian amini bamulimba. These assets were not nationalized.
Yeah.
They were put under a custodian. Nti balikomawo.
Yeah.
Bankambo Mugerwa balule balimba amini. Agati Gondi custodian board president nasalawo n'agamba, we are religious people. We are Christians. We are also Muslims. We cannot get fresh capital unless we return the properties of Indians. I remember the president said, this panic you are having is nonsense because the whole of Jinja is owned by one Indian. Now take a custodian board. Custodian board, President Naga, no, don't quarrel because the second was a royal of custodian board. Because before, you don't know the background of the second. No, I don't. A quarter of Masaka belongs to him. Hey. He's a very rich man. Second, decided to take on Indians. Those Indians were paid because Amini could not, Amini paid them their money. President Naga, no, we should not talk about legality. Every Indian who comes back and claims the building Mujumu, the quarrel will be sorted out in a court. Okay. Kakati, I wonder, Parliament yajawo obuyinza ate to investigate ebizimbe bya custodian board. Because Museveni had decided the matter. Whoever claims a building, allocate it. Because most of these Indians did not come back. Yeah. They're in Canada. I visited them. What one Sajjo Muyindi. The president yali amwagadde nnyo yajja wano n'anoonya president n'amubula helped him. Sajja ng'ayogera nnyo. Yamuyinvitingako ng'akola parking akola ki. I've forgotten his name. Ne bampitako ne mu kibuga kyabwe. Ekyo egundi. Bangamba, how did we come to this city? Tianti, Beya Wechibuga Chinaganti, those Indians who are coming to Britain should not come to my city. Kati Baba was Angakoya port destination, the city, they are there. Okay. Custodian board. Kakati custodian board, Yatamujidamu Mutia Kasos.
Mzee Tamale, President Yakola mistake, Yakola blanda, or command take up privatization, Navanga Tunda factories. You have a fool. Kenya ya Ghana. Today mulembe gwami. Kenya ichaina parasitic. Today mulembe gwami. Yes. Amini we go bayindi wanene. Nabanga companies of factories are bazi. Obuzi bwana nti tebayina man power na skills. Necho kubiri. President Museveni watch yaje na man power na skills. Abazungu bali tebayinza kukkiriza. Amini is economic to succeed. Why? It would have been taken over by the African countries. Majambero yo kumula. Yali asiba mupira ku petrol station ya Kigali. He argued Habyarimana to confiscate Indian properties. That's why he became Iran Newu. Habyarimana yamubanja sente n'addukayo n'agenda mubala pifu nabone bamubanja. Kyobola bano mbasekerera. Mbutu wagira opposition yejeko mu 7 etujja kukolagana naye wa naye jabba waayo. Yes. Kakati nkugamba. The problem the president is having nti two, he found the Indians the economy which was shattered. Museveni wanted to solve two issues at Yego. Museveni wanted the Indians who has capital and experience to take over their properties. Their properties, yeah. Nebakomawo. But abadda babbi. Sibe bali original badda bayayi. Original bano bategeera nti Ugandans everybody supported the expulsion of Indians. In my area, it's only my father who did not take a Tata Wangati Atwala child. The only thing I sat home, and my father had the influence like me. Okay. We have a family of influential people. A gund. While one was saying, I'm going to Molodin. Molodin, I need your magic is a vice Bamotaro, or better night to deserve and be. Okay. Yes. Or better a chizao and never chibba. ate bokolera bakibye
bakibba
bokolera
naye ekyuma kya molodini yawataata wange ekitanda nga kinene nnyo bwe kiti nga tusulako basatu eno kitange yagano kisulako tikyakisiraani I was educated in an Indian nursery school. Okumanya abayindi baali bawali taata respect nga abayindi bavuga obugaali bwabwe naye nga nze nsobola okuvuga mu kagaali k'abayindi nesomera mu nasale y'abayindi ekalisizo because of the correction of my father. Kakati problem Museveni gye yafuna, he wanted to colonize agriculture n'ateekamu abantu be ne bagibba.
Yatugamba genda creating emirimu millioni 7 mu agriculture.
Kakati agriculture nadize ekoze ki?
Wealth creation. Ensigo bagaba nfu.
Yes. Anti nadize nkugambye kyomutamivu toyinza kumabala ya mwenge.
Bwe dasoma list yabali most corrupt nabo ku list baliko.
Anti bobe ba suppliers. Bage emwanyi nasale zabo. Muwogo bamulete enkube maze okutonya. Echi. I cannot blame Musale. He is a soldier. This requires people who are change agents. A person who did mass communication or psychology. Bebayina change agent nti odira obukoko n'obuwa omusajja ne bumuvaako tabuddamu naddira ente ne bagibba ne batava kuba amasasi kubanga bo ekibaliko nti enkoko bazibba ente bazibba. Kakati ekintu kya Museveni ne bakiparalyzing. Kakati unlike Obote who did not tamper because Kiwanuka tried. Kiwanuka yakwata reserve z'eggwanga n'agula emmwanyi naga nti beeye emmwanyi erinye ku production kyobulaba nti bwogenda e Masaka waliyo obupikipiki babuyita BSA mu maka bukyalimu from the 60s. Kati Obote bwe yajja naga nti Kiwanuka is investing in Masaka because he comes from Masaka. Masaka has lost many cases. Abaitali baali batuwadde isairos nga batuwadde n'ekyuma ekikenula ennaanansi kino grapes bakijja India ne bakiteeka mu musana ne kyatika. Abayirani bajja ndowooza ne bagenda nego pineapples teziriyo. Kakati Obote n'amugamba nti if we use reserves to boost coffee production, what will happen if we deplete the reserves? Obote naga no, I'm a socialist. Let us allow market going. Kati Museveni ajja atampalinga na agriculture nenga talina ba disciples nti emmwanyi cooperative zabbanga abantu. That's what I've explained. Crop finance yami nateka ku marketing board nti emmwanyi muzigule mwina ne stores e Mombasa mwe kakati bwe mulabanga gundi muwendo gusse as government we can to continue production. Kati ababbi ne bajja olaba bali bagambye munetaka olimire emmwanyi
bamaladikebere
n'abali
bamala kuboera license.
Are you telling Ugandans emmwanyi tuziyita kibooko? Lwaki Abaganda bali emmwanyi lwambo tuziyita kibooko
bwe kiri.
When cotton was introduced in Ankole, Abanyankole basiga cotton seeds ne bagamba abazungu nti wantamerawo. Abazungu nabo ne babasalya amagezi ne bakuba ente zaabwe ebikato ne zifa. But you cannot tell Muganda nti coffee kakati coffee bamutandika amateeka basempijja kuba balowooza mu monopoly ffe tulina okubeera ne coffee fekka nodire mwenyi z'omuntu n'oziyiwa. Lwaki emwenyi z'omuntu oziyiwa? Gwe zirinde ku stores mugobye oyiwa zaaki yiwezange nkubete nti omutu mu lujja lwange. Kakati ekyokubiri Museveni kye yakola ogambye ti tackle two important economic factors at the same time. Bali ba parastatals abayindi tebakomawo. The only Indians who have come back, these are sugar producers. Because never breweries. The rest did not come back. Kakati, instead of surrendering, if government had surrendered the UTC buses to Utoda, what do you need? Cheap transport. Ziri muzibye basi zavanga eno mu UTC nezifulumira mu basi z'Abaganda nga z'abantu balala. Waliwo wano basi nga bagiyita Kayola. Basi bali bagiyita Kayola nga y'Abachina erina n'eki obeeyo yabulirawo. Train yali ekola. Naye kakati train, I was embarrassed. Nti president ne bakulembeze banne babagana okugenda ku red quarters. Train bagironkingira standard age bagironkingira wasudirwe munyonyo ku kaddole wano waliwo bannannyiniwo tebayinza kugenda kuleero waliwo bannannyiniwo nabagamba nti omuyindi yali agala okukola aninland port ati Malaba
namusanga Mombasa nanga nti wamwe sikyadda bansaba millions of dollars oba banjasa omutwe president kakati nkugamba nti Ugandans were involved in the private sector.
Yeah.
What has created this trouble? Government made privatization nga tefunye bazeewo makolero ate government yalumba ne
private sector.
Nti if President Museveni today visits Lake Victoria banks kuba ennyanja yeetololiva waffe Mutukula neyeetolola ne Jinja, he will be overwhelmed by the number of widows, the number of orphans, the number of women who have been taken over by his soldiers nga bagobya abavubi mu nnyanja ne bakuba amaato g'abavubi kati mukasa akuuma ennyanja ayogera Lunyankole muvuka muto bwati mu kyozi yakuba amaato g'abantu yayavuwazizza abantu. We know you don't teach me anything. I know that even in highly developed countries, lakes are closed. Emyezi egi naye muvuba emyaka 25. This was nabaga a mafia misuses a good Museveni's policy to get what he wants. Ndi kakati wutoda ngene ne babuuza ono omukazi akuba abantu mu Kampala naye oyo omukazi Kisaki aliddawa because these people lugawe bakisaki abo oba baliddawa kuba baawano bote bajja kudduka naye Kisaki naddira ekisajja ekitemu ekiki ekya KCC nakitwala mu wino kikuba abantu nagulumiza omukazi oyo kubanga bafunayo sente. I have evidence era neewunyiza nnyo azikisaki nga yekukumibwa ati gwe bajja kuba wano bamutte n'omutwe bagwasi eri tumwinezi aid zirangami, they have rang me twice. Nebanga, we are not, our office is not supporting this woman.
Kusaba.
We have found out is being used by the police and the other people, forces in the state council.
Okay.
Tumwine knows the future. Kisaki tamanyi. Bajja mukubawa nona abana be police bafumbi. Ne wabwe tibajja kugiza. Kakati nkubuuza. Nti why do I intervene? I was talking to somebody. Nangamba tukuwa amafuta. Nimugamba, my question is not amafuta. I'm a political scientist, I'm an activist. If today Bobby Wine stages a demonstration in Kampala, when you have antagonized with other people, when you have antagonized Owino, when you have antagonized in Nakasero, at one time when Nakasero battu to deliver it abantu ba Musisi to get these people arrested, the leaders of Nakasero. Abantu bomu Owino bagula akatale ako ku ssente zaabwe. Kakati bano kye baakola baawaaba omusango mu kkooti ne bagusinga ne balimba Museveni nti ssente ez'omusango mu kkooti ate baddiza byapa. Oyo omukozi oyo Kisakya gwe Kisaka ojja kudduka
yogedde ku bintu bingi ku nnaku naye mbadde njaba.
The issue kakati kankubuuza, you have evicted the people. I was explaining to a PhD man is research ne mugamba nti agriculture y'omu Africa tesobola kutambula. Why? Look how this progressed in England. In 1200 AD, there was a black revolt in England.
Okay.
The peasants rose against the landlords. Jambia until the landlords were put to order. And they agreed as follows. One, because previously migrated to the city we bakwatanga nga bakutema omukono. Ogwokubiri nga bakutema ogwokubiri, ogwokusatu nga bakutta. So the tenants rose up, the serfs nga bano abali mu Buganda, the tenants bano babatuusa ku masengere. Kakati they agreed. One, those who want to go to the city, please go.
Okay.
Those who have money, buy yourselves. Ongamba otya mu Wakiso nga yiika y'omu Wakiso egula $2,000,000 n'ongamba nti oyina yiika 4 nanye ntaka muweeko nkukube enyondo mu mutwe nasirekeraku
Mzee Tamale nga tuva ku nsonga eno.
No, President nkugamba
President yogedde ku bali yatwogedde ku nsonga President yakonyeeko.
These people after this settlement they migrated to the emerging cities. And to ensure that all of those people who migrated the cities were engaged in a productive work. In 1200 AD in England, they introduced the vagabond law, which exists in Uganda today. omuganda ekiyita vagalanda okukwata kirerezi vagabond law to ensure that whoever comes to Kampala has a job. Kakati after this exodus from the villages to the city, many people came to cities and the landlords remained with the huge chunks of land. This is what we call the fencing system in England. Kakati atemu ne mu byalo ettaka mulibye n'obubanja mubutemyemu omusajja alina yiika zennya yazitereka munanyini ttaka muweko nga nkuwako
atugamba tagenda kuta wano ikamodo ika zikyali luddawa bano meka balina ika
no when I go back to my village I cry which used to be plantations have been turned into plots. Why? Nanyini ttaka mbwatwala ku bbiri. How can you take my land? If I had 5 acres, my neighbor had 5 acres. He divided this land into his children. And so, do you come to me?
President yavudde n'abeera nga yagambye nti yeewuunya okuba nti tukyafulumya abaana abawala ebweru nga bagenda kukola mu busiza bw'Abarabu. Yanaga nti ayagala koppa enkola y'abasajja abakoreya naga atala bakoreya bagenze ebweru okukola mirimu naye president namwezanira nti ye tamanyi ensonga lwaki abaana bagenda ebweru okukola.
Nabagamba nti President Museveni is a man with good ideas but who lacks discipline.
Waki tebikola waki ageze tezikola wane
buli kintu kye kyaleeta bakibba kati katubuuze who own these companies?
Ye mwenye nagede ya foreigners
ani akulimba
gwe yagambye sitebe gye yakoze yeeyo.
Kakati President Museveni bw'aba agamba nti they are foreigners, how do we explain the 32 people who are arraigned before the International Criminal Court abawoleza ku Zoom? Are these foreigners? And they are accused of taking Ugandans abroad and extracting their organs. Are these foreigners? The only foreigners are two Chinese, a Kenyan and a Rwandese, and it is because they were duping refugees nga babatwala ebweru. These companies are owned. Tumwebaza ali luddawo wa Labour. Gundi Bigirimana bwe yagezaako to regulate ne Hajati Mukwaya babajjawo.
Tumwebaza yagambye nti bagala kuba nti bateekawo insurance bonds ku baana bano babenga bali insured. Singa bafuna obuzibu baberenga basobola okuba nti bayambibwa.
Let me tell you.
Before we go there, buzibu kyo businga okuba nti ensonga kyesinga okuba nti efulumya abaana bano okuba nti bagenda okukola.
Busiru.
Si busiru. Bula lya mirimu.
No sibula.
Tewali mirimu. Nambeera mbi enyigiriza abaana.
Uganda Investment Authority has failed Ugandans. How much money do you use to send your children?
Kati obusiru bwani.
Anti bwebu.
Obusiru bwani.
Anti buliri.
Bwaba nayigo bwa government.
Mujje mu recording omwana wange mutabani wange. My son defied me. N'agenda mu Labour company ne bamuli ku routing. Sijja kwogera nsi mwe baali bamutwala bati we ya 200. Ne bamubuuza gwe taata we yaani Tamale Mirundi ono omukambi wa ledi kakati katukole bwe tuti genda ne passport yo ne return ticket ne sente ez'okulyayo ogwo okomewo be yalekayo balamu. Mine came back. You cannot change. This is slavery. It's an embarrassment to government. As Kalolo Kurutu praises Uganda for hosting
it is government.
Your own people are voting in large numbers, are living. 400 girls are living, 4,000 girls are living in Uganda every day.
Every day.
As Kalolo Kurutu praises herself, we are hosting. What will the Arabs say?
Instead of president Museveni okuva okuba nti avumirira ensonga eyo lwaki takola ku bizibu ebitwala abaana bano ebweru
takimanyi ti abaana bano abasinga obungi UN yakafulumya report says nti ate mu COVID organize alinye ebbeeyi tukolera olukolo nga tumwebaza atubuulire tutuule n'amakampuni ago. Museveni ampa assignment tutuule n'amakampuni ago mwana ku mwana tumwebaze bwatadduka.
Mzee Tamale ebintu bino ebisinga okuba nti bitwala abaana ebweru abaana bakyasobola kubanga basoma
bukedde Kayibanda era abo abafiirayo naye Kayibanda naye bukedde neddawo nerimba abantu. Nze omwana wange n'abulya enkwata jjambiya yange negiteeka mu kkooti n'ennumba we yalinyira. Nyemwe tafumaana kubanga you see bano ate mwanange Museveni kimukubirayo abantu mu byalo bagamba Museveni is taking our children because these are people who cannot vote him. Kuba banenye makampuni bagamanyi.
And the government is enjoying.
Banenye makampuni abantu bagamanyi.
And the government is enjoying.
Muzeyi yeta gamanyi. Ne banenye makampuni bagamanyi and they are not far from State House.
Adam ekyewunyisa government enjoying $1 million nga lusa. Ani bali kuva mbana banene.
When you go to Ghana, the Ghanaian government gives a visa and a passport for free. Why? Because you come back for renewal. This is not the case. Nkugambi, nti every government policy is abused by the mafias.
Okay.
Yes. Nkukubira akatambi one.
Nyanyo kubira katambi.
Ngomupakistani ayogera balete simu yange.
Nyanyo kubira katambi.
Ngomupakistani one. Ngayogera ne minister.
Tujako bakuluokubiri inshallah.
Consignment yasoka and the Pakistani is in prison. Was sentenced 7 years in prison and the fine of 4 million people. Was dealing with the ministers here.
Mzee Tamale.
Nabagamba nejiwano nachogera nembagamba. When Professor Kanyerezi, before his death, he came to me and left with me with his network a list of doctors he was using. Nembaganti my efforts me am happy. Nibomutampa sende mutampachi. But we have open indicators. The women who are dying during the delivery are no more. We had reached 20 per day. Accidents. Mubikajjo bya kawolo, mubikajjo bya madivan zichafa.
Accidents zali unyawo.
Taken to Lugazi. 2 doctors from Lugazi before the International Criminal Court. No, fika salam. Wapi 2 doctors, one from Masaka, another from Chitovu. Ebyo byali bikola artificial. Abantu abagenzi babakule.
Accidents zali planned yezo.
Yes. So which means the Baganda have a very good proverb that oluna tawaka barumuziba nyendo. Nabaganti when Museveni retires and the new government institutes a commission in his government, it will be overwhelmed by the findings.
We wow. Ngatoka ku retirement nina agenda kubanga damu okulaya.
The intelligence yonna eri fake nabo batrading. Yakuba omwana ngesi jeno.
As you wish him retirement.
Jeno talirinya ko bwera.
As you wish him retirement. Agenda kuba damu okulaya ngenda kusomeza 12. Nenga bino kize n'ebintu bingi. Okuba nti okulayira kujja. Polisi yavudde n'eraga nti nno wano UPDF y'eraga nti waliwo akakundi kacankalanya okulayira kwa president.
That's completely irrelevant.
Polisi n'omukulu yavudde n'ayogera eggulo enanga owa polisi n'alaga nti waliwo abanyabufuzi.
Yotajibwako hadisi.
Polisi wanga tajibwa akadi.
Let me tell you.
Yaze n'agala waliwo banyabufuzi.
Where do you find?
Abantu kuba bacankalanya okulayira kwa president.
Where do you find in Africa where the opposition concedes defeat? Will it be in Uganda? Except in Uganda. So am I surprised that when can I come up as a spokesperson of government, of the president, to tell the people that some people are planning to sabotage? In fact, you are fueling it.
And what amused me, Mzee Tamale, ya quotes ngaranti ensonga eyo era balaba ngitamba ku social media. So ku social media yajibwako information ku bantu no police ku intelligence.
Kakati kyenkubuulira. Bo bennyini be balina ba bloggers.
Abapolisi
babyeteerayo
bapanga lukwe
Museveni abawesente.
Leka naawe.
They don't know the impact that if the police, an authoritative organ of government, if UPDF, an authoritative government, you have the 12 ban, which is threatens the leaders, why should security allow its president to come to Uganda when you are not talking about Al Shahab? Mwe mubyogera ebyo nga naffe mu Baganda bw'owasa bajjajjaabo balemera mu mulyango era Bobi Wine kakati Bobi Wine ayagala ekintu kimu to overshadow Museveni's
swearing in ceremony.
Kyova olaba nti this is the appropriate time for him okutuuza meeting kati abaprovoking era mukube tear gas kite kiri ignore him.
Before you come to that, police erega njagala kubanga erange scaling up curfew. Tayogere enanga muvudde ko njogera police. Njagala kubanga scaling up curfew. Curfew abirenga ddawo. Kubanga olugamba nti akonga keyongedde. COVID-19 yeyongedde.
They undermine. You see, is a curfew, has a curfew. Under curfew, are people not dying?
They are dying.
In anger. if Wahab is helping you, you would say, as I'm saying, that because I exposed this human party scandal, the accidents have reduced. Many women are no longer dying. Ekyo kitegeeza ekiwundu nakijjamu amasira. Kati enanga atubuulire nti you give us the statistics before curfew and the statistics under curfew.
nga tuli mu mbeera bannayuganda gye balimu economy engeri crippled ate oga nti ozaawo lockdown ne mukwano gwe yavuddeyo Judith Nabakooba n'alaga nti n'agenda kubanga government propose okuba nti ezzaawo second lockdown erinnya ndivuddeko government propose okuba nti baddawo second lockdown. Second lockdown mu kaseera kano munnayuganda yeebuuza lwaki lockdown yekomawo ekiseera kano nga president agenda kulayira bakuuma kulayira kwa president. Is it linked to that?
Yesterday a newspaper published a story alleging that these police officers have been transferred because of the swearing in. What does it mean? Why do you keep them in the police? And you see, when you see such a story being published, you say no. It is not true that we are changing these people because of the swearing in. These are normal police transfers. And I can give you 10 examples. We transferred on such a date. Was it connected? The media, yo ebalwanyisa. Nti eyagala to overshadow the swearing in ceremony. Nti leading to the swearing in ceremony. Why didn't the police change the OCs, Muslim OCs, when the Pope was coming? Nali manyi nti abambute nene baba bagezi nedda mukama kuwabuwi mutwe. You see, enanga ite honest man. Why do you respond every time? If the newspapers, first of all, me, I did the decision making. Decision making is a whole chapter in politics. What motivated the Monitor to publish a story that is so and so are being transferred, because when will they be trusted? I had it was a practice in Ankole during Obote's visit. Heroes Day. All of the opposition people would be rounded up and put in the police cells until Obote leaves. How can this allow? Even these people, the affected police officers, would call a press conference. It's not true. We are loyal to the government. We are not partisan. Nina bote bachiraba. Yes. Kati bombite bachiraba. Aba police bana bote bachiraba. Why do you say that I'm partisan? Kakati, after mentioning my name and putting my photo there, what do I have a future in the police? You understand? I can even sue the newspaper. Where did you get the information that my transfer has been motivated by being non-loyal to government? Because this is wrong. Been able to get a gafabaya ulirwako, adabi abaya ulirwa. Nasoma logic, nasoma propaganda, nasoma political science. Every decision in politics is purposeful. And are these the only, those ones, haven't we had, because you would say, we have not been having policy changes since 2 years ago, for the last 2 years. Now, I would ask, why are they being done now? But it's a creation of the media. The media is labeling you anti-government, and you sit down, through Monitor, erete proof nti your transfers were because you are not loyal to government.
Nze Tamale, lwaki mutofa lwaki obukubagano bungi nnyo katolokera okulayira?
Yes, you know what? Nababuuza ne mbagamba nti if a co-wife stands up in a hospital compound and starts making a noise, does it affect the other wife who is delivering twins?
No.
Gwebera mu lujo ogane oli azaale naye bano bonna banoonya ssente ekisudde gavumenti ya Museveni busuma na ssente and lack of analyzing.
Do you need a second lockdown in Kampala one?
Which one? Museveni yatulookinga yatugenda. So whenever I see that woman opening her mouth, I switch off my television. This is, I predicted this in my book, the COVID mafias, that you have flouted the rules. Museveni looked at this country, took a political decision before any country. And we are not a strong economy. He closed the airport. But these people flouted the rules. Ministers went and brought to people, foreigners, these people took bribes, the immigration officers. At one time, Entebbe International Airport was allocated 100 million shillings to buy sanitizers. It didn't. It took the intervention of Kabasi. Kabasi yasangawo bidomola nga biri empty. Kabasi. There are many ways I don't. You see, Kabasi nakola naye has a good heart. Kabasi has a good heart.
Okay.
But the problem, Kabasi bwe yajja waliwo ajongo government eyateekamu eyiye waliwo yateekamu government esabutafuge era mugenda kukisanga. Members of the first family are going to malign each other and all of them may end up in Hague. Balwanira busika.
Wow. Gatumaliza mzee Tamale. Bobi Wine ngawe yogede yavudde nawandikira banne opposition FDC Jema DP basobola kubanga begatta mu kaseera kanene. Nenga tuolekera okulayira. Kugata kukyalina omugaso.
Nkugambye bw'oli musajja musiraamu muwasa abakyala bana naye do you think ti omukyala ono asooseewo okujjako to control era nabaga nti mumugende if I make a research a psychologist nengenda mu makomera gonna abakazi abayiridde bajja babaasire mulimu abasiraamu bakikuliramu. This is Ghana. Ti Ghana bawangula na 1%. They said let the country continue. During Kufuor's time, they also lost, and Kufuor said, we shall not go to parliament, no which in parliament. But these people, as Bobi Wine is mobilizing his opposition people, they are itching. These people are itching to serve in Museveni's government.
Which people?
Of opposition. Yes. They are itching. You don't have politicians in Uganda. You don't have journalists in Uganda. Bobi Wine, but trade union to Uganda. When do you stage a strike? Have you ever heard teachers staging a strike during the holiday?
No.
Teachers, when you will be ferret. Abasomesa abastrikinga abaana bakola ki?
Bagenda kola bigezo.
Omukazi omuganda anoba ku Christmas onogefumbira.
Omusiraamu adoma mugenda kusiiba.
Yes. Kakati you know when government will be ferret, you know when ne betubanga kakati ndi mu media as a media expert. Manya when should I release a press release, when should I call a press conference, and I must know. Nti when I make nabo bakimanyi. Bobi Wine tasobola kugera kugundi kutuza press conference nga amanyi nti olunaku olunange enjogera bakibala
sure
they affect their audience they know it bambaza ate bana abange bwe bakola tumujjawana ojijjakotyo jijjako bakubete nto omutwe kakati nkugamba Bobi Wine has a good strategist amanyi to have two groups the public wants to know did I concede defeat or not? Kati naye apalapala nyayo. Era bwe wotegeerera Mengo is a good indicator in the politics. Whenever there is infighting in a regime in the central government, Mengo puts demands. Era kyekigikubya bulijjo. Nti mu 66 Obote yali alwana na Grace Ibingira na Muteesa Mengo ne wagira Grace Ibingira Obote n'ababetenta. Buli tugenda mu kalulu Menge wagira Besigye Museveni n'abawangula yita babetenta nemujja kufuna yababetenta kati ku luno kabaka mulwadde iruno ono sebubadde era alisaka ultimatum they have to give us this billion. How did these assets you are demanding from Museveni, how did they find their way in the hands of the central government? Kale ekyo nkimanyi ti Bobi Wine azanyira ku bano bano aba security bakolagana ne Bobi Wine nabaga nti nkugambye these people went to the president and told him that Mirundi has crossed the red line. Museveni yabaga Mirundi can't. Era lwe baali bagenda okukwata Kayekola babagendayo ne babaga nti uyu tasobola Mirundi mugezi tasobola kubeera mu ebyo bakwata Kayekola ne bakwata Kitata bankwatako nze sobola kulya Museveni lukwe kuba mumanyi network yi yayina ngimanyi it will be political suicide kakati what is causing a panic in the members of the first family over succession the coming back of Mbabazi the meeting start gentlemen wama temwatudde ne mwana intinga n'omusika ne muganti ono omusajja awedde ne muganti fe tulina okuba muhoozi wakati muhoozi yali mu kkubo naye Mirundi tetujja mutta tye gwe muwulire buwulizi byayogera era baleese n'equipment naye tebakoowa baleese equipment empya mbutulipero maye spy network spy network kanje bannyonnyole once I subject you to a spy network the beams enter your body toyina kyuma kyoleeta baleeta abachina nembalaba obuchina nga bwoza essimu zaabwe nenseka abayuzi eri ne bajjawo ne bawa omusajja jaketi lepera n'emmotoka eri insulete namukwata nayo n'emmotoka ye nagikwata ne babawo minisona alina omutwe ogumulinga ebbulooka n'agenda e South Africa nalita oguma bwe guti nalita oguma mbugugo guliperinga wapi ne wajjawo omuchina n'ababba n'abagamba omuchina yababba ne bamuwa sente kakati nze mba ndaba omuchina ebyuma byange nga bindaga nti yatuuse dda e Beijing nga bano bagamba mbu yagenze Nairobi mbu alina equipment eta. Why don't you sit down? As you said, let me tell you, you have failed to understand. Uganda has 4 important factors which these people are overlooking. Before you fight over succession, is the person you are going to succeed dead?
No. 2, how can you succeed a sheikh when you have a record of drinking beer and eating pork? You can't.
How can a person believe in succeeding in Museveni when you are indicted for killing people and extracting organs? They said, we have a green, we are seeing, we are about to overcome this. We are about, our lawyers are surely, lawyer galika criminal, mwakagawa millions of dollars, kumina munana kagala kumina bilika bagambichi. Kakati, two, the American ban. People take, never cover, Uganda, Banuba, Ugundi, they never did the international relations. Never got the people should rely on is Kotesa, is Uganda, is Ayevali, and your diplomats. A diplomatic query. And let me tell you, after the swearing of the president, we are going to have a new type of sanctions.
Okay.
Because who is provoking these Americans? These people, the criminals, abagala okujjako kadaga, abagala okukola ki, boba panicking abagamba. How can we live in a country which we are not in charge? This is exactly what the Americans want you not to do. America tends kubakkiriza nti mmwe mufuule eggwanga lino a den of criminals.
Okay.
Yes. So removing, trying to consolidate yourself nga mujjako abantu. You are provoking more sanctions. Nabagambye wano jjo. Nembagamba nti Kenya has been asked by the United Nations to deploy its forces in Congo. Nabagamba nti NATO was planning to establish a base in Eastern Congo. Kakati boba akugaya nti Kenya they are replacing South Africa. Nembagamba you are excited about constructing roads in Congo. Who own the land titles? Kakati singa sente mwazitwalayo. Kati amajeka Kenya gabakkirize mukole y'enguudo. Nababuuza nti as you people plan to invest mwe mulowooza nti Nshikedi ye nannyini byapa oba babiriki.
Nga tusibula muzeyi Tamale mujjo omukwano gwo yabaddeko ne last supper oba last dinner ne cabinet enkadde esiibula naye panic eryawo abantu buli omu akankana tamanyi obaddira mu cabinet empya
mugamba nti it is a sword, a double-edged sword. One, if Museveni includes any minister who has been indicted by the international community, it will prove that Museveni is a part of this. Two, nti a failed woman like Gitutu mu energy, those ministers where people have failed, n'abakomyawo. Okomyawo abantu mu Buganda, this is the prerogative of the president. Nti why do you punish a person twice? Kakati mmanyi Kasolo bamulwanyisa. Baagala emyoga gigende mu president's office mu katumwebaze yaliyo. I can play you tapes. Nti omuntu omu yakwata emmiki mbagamba nti family members abamu 7 bapanikinze bajja kwonoona ekintu. Abuuka ku mmotoka gwetta bakwata baali batwala Kasolo bamuvunaana nada egi gaalo. Baali badidde Kasolo. Kakati kankubuuza. Bukedde was alleging ti Kasolo yatta omuntu. When do you pass Kasolo? After defeat or before defeat?
Before defeat.
Why do you read their story?
No.
Kati Kasolo bamujjemu. Somebody is talking about emyoga. Is emyoga nina information. Ti Kasolo bali ba falsifying the records mu Ministry of Finance. Nakalema amukwate. Kakati bamutandika ebyo.
Wewa, sigenda kubanga nsuko wane ngenda kubamberekeza bano Uganda banange kubadde balayi balungi. Mbebaza era nga basamba kusigala ku STV program je zikyagenda mu maaso. Shap talk about the program ya fe ne Tamale